Excuse me, had a scratch on my nose. Hello, loves, it's Knowledge Butterfly. I am going to now talk about um, death and life are in the power of the tongue. And I know that sounds like the Bible, and actually it is from the Bible. I grew up in Christianity, kind of, sort of, because my great-grandfather was a Baptist minister. And when he was living, my grandmother and my aunt would take me to church, and I was the child that they felt the closest to putting into that, and I really feel like a lot of it had to do with my particular energy and my light, because again, everything happens for a reason. Anywho's, I'm gonna jump into that being a verse from Proverbs 18:21. And what does this mean? The death and life are in the power of the tongue. It means you can have whatever you say, because the words we speak can either curse or bliss our lives. Okay, so these are the true curse words that we're saying to ourselves. Yes, the languages that we speak, like English, is really a curse language. However, excuse me, the way that we talk about ourselves, the way that we talk about our lives, the way that we talk about our jobs, the way that we talk about our families, the way that we talk about our very being, and everything that is in our outer verse or even our inner verse, like when people speak sickness on themselves, it does cause you to curse yourself or to bliss yourself. And I like to call it being a destroyer or a creator. So some people are destroyers. They are constantly destroying their own lives. It's like you playing with, like when you were a child, playing with the Lego blocks, and you building up the Lego blocks or whatever, and then coming and just knocking them over and destroying them. You know what I'm saying? That type of mentality or thought process is what a lot of people have, instead of being more of a creator. And when you start your spiritual journey and beginning to know yourself and beginning to go on a more spiritual path versus focus on the physical, you get that you have to work inward in order to get what you want on the outside. Not saying you don't have to do things like physical work. However, you have a better understanding that in order to truly get those things and to live a blissful life with those things, you have to start with your inward. And when you have that mentality and that thought process, you become more of a creator, which is why a lot of us become entrepreneurs and, leave our jobs and things that we were doing before our first eye opened up and our heart chakra was flooded with love, love energy. So I read a book, and I posted this on my Instagram. I read this book in one night in like 3 hours. It's called The Mastery of Love. And so The Mastery of Love talks about how in our childhood we were domesticated by first our parents, of course, because that's your parents or your guardians, whoever raised you. Those would be the people that domesticated you to create the same types of existence as their parents taught them before them, and so on and so forth, if you go through the lineage. So we were mainly told what we could not do versus what we could do. And that, again, was because they were domesticated and told that they basically had to work hard and do these things in order to achieve a life. That nobody said, you can be really anything that you wanted to be. And I will say that, especially, even though I get that we are not these bodies or this image that you see, like we're not a race like black or white and so on and so forth. However, what I can say, in this lifeline, growing up in this physical body, in the melanated household, you are definitely not given that full encouragement and vote of confidence that you can be or do anything in this life, that you can create whatever you want and you can be whatever you want. You're mainly told the things that you can't do, and you're also mainly disciplined versus showing love and appreciation and giving, somebody basically giving you full encouragement for you to stay the course and to be whatever you want to be, and telling you that your dreams are possible. That's not really how it is in the household. You're told to like go to school, be in the books, go to college, however you need to get some type of financial aid. Nobody's really going to aid you and assist you. Nobody really wants to, you need to open a bank account, save your own money is what I was told, and get your own car. Like nobody's gonna help you and things like that. Nobody teaches you how to balance your check, but nobody really, they tell you that you have to get out into the world, but they don't prepare you for it if that's what they say you're supposed to do. And for the most part, because we already know the school systems don't prepare you, even though they say they want you to be in the workforce. However, your parents also don't prepare you. Even though I know that's on a whole nother tangent, I just wanted to break that down. That's why a lot of the people in these melanated bodysuits or avatars, why the negativity and the complaining comes from those communities so much, and why the melanated communities are in the predicament that they are in. And that's all over the world, because again, I lived in Jamaica for almost a year, and it is really, really bad, when it comes to how we talk to our children there. And it really hurt my heart because, one, already I was staying in Jonestown and Trenchtown, and first off, big up the people of Jamaica, the people of Jonestown, Trenchtown, Port Antonio, Portland. Like, beautiful people, beautiful souls. Like, the children mainly is what I mean by beautiful people and beautiful souls. However, I did meet some adults who were just really cool and just really made me feel like family. And I really love you guys. I really appreciate you for that. I just had to say that really quickly. Getting back to the way that the children are spoken to, it's really rough. Like, it's not a supporting vibe. It's not an uplifting vibe. It's not the type of energy we should be putting into our children. So then when the children are then being treated less than by other races, then we get upset and we wonder why. However, it starts at home. It starts at home. So whatever you put into your child, just know that it is the law of attraction. So if you're not telling your child they can be anything they want to be, and to follow their dreams, and that they are beautiful the way that they are, and building them up, then they are going to think that they're less than, and they're going to attract less than. Okay? So like I said, most of us were not told and given this type of full encouragement. And like I said, it's all over because it wasn't something that I was brought up with, like compliments and things like that. That's why I definitely dealt with low self-esteem. That's why I dealt with shyness, because I wasn't given that, oh, you're beautiful and all these things. And children need to hear these types of words. However, at the same time, when you get that, my parents weren't given that, their parents probably weren't given that, so they did not pass, they didn't pass down something that they didn't have inside of them, because they didn't possess that at this time, because they weren't given that. You know what I'm saying? What they were given was complaining and negativity and gossip and rearing the child with discipline, versus rearing the child with love, or bringing the child up in love. You see what I'm saying? So when you don't do that, that affects how you speak. It affects how you think first, which comes out in the way that you speak about yourself and about others, and how you see everything around you. I can go look at a tree and it can have one branch with a couple of leaves springing out of it, and I will still see life, because there are leaves coming out of it. That's life. While somebody else will look at it and say, somebody need to cut that tree down, that tree is dead. You see what I'm saying? So it's really all in the way you see things. It's how you think, your thought process. Okay? And that controls what comes out of your mouth. Okay. I just went on that. That actually was something extra I went on because I do that sometimes, y'all. Okay. Okay. So, when you're growing up as a child, like I said, we hear the adults around us talking about all the bad things in the world. We hear them gossiping, talking about other people's lives. We hear them talking about how they hate their jobs. We hear them talking about, how bad this person, this relationship is. Somebody got into an argument or a domestic situation. And basically, they're talking about all the obstacles and roadblocks that they feel are in other people's ways and are in their way. And that is an infection that is then transmitted or transferred onto their seeds. So it's not, like I said, it's not intentional, and it's not to put down my parents, it's not to put down anybody's parents that do it, but they are only doing what was taught to them, what they were domesticated to do. And that's what the book Mastery of Love was talking about. I call it the domestication of the human race. You know what I'm saying? It's passing on that disease. You've been infected with what they were infected with in their parents before, and so on and so forth. So, if you think back to when you were a child, the only thing you wanted to do really was play. You would meet, other kids really easily in the neighborhood, and y'all would have a good time and run around on your bicycles or just run and play or come up with games and things like that. I remember we came up with a game, me and my sisters, where we would utilize the trees. So there'd be, there are really tall trees in Georgia. Pretty sure there are tall trees everywhere, but there are really tall, like, old trees in Georgia that you can just tell have so much, like, her story to it. And we would say that this was our doorway to our house, the entrance. 2 trees, on either side was an entrance to our home. So we just would come up with our own games. That's why children don't even need toys, because our imagination is so powerful and strong. And what happens is when you're domesticated, they slowly chip away at that imagination, because they want you to think so much with your left brain and become so, melanated parents want you to become adults. And that's what I see with a lot of Jamaicans as well. They want you to become adults before you've even been able to experience your freaking childhood. You see what I'm saying? Like, there'll be like no romping around, like you romp too much. And I'm like, children are supposed to romp. They're supposed to play, okay? They're supposed to have fun, because if you think about it, you are a child for a short amount of time. And if you continue living in this physical existence for long enough, you're going to be an adult way longer than you were a child. However, that childlike essence and existence is still in you. However, people slowly kill it with the domestication, the things that they put in your mind. All right? What else? Okay. And the last thing I'll say, I'll go ahead and wrap this up, because saying all that to say is that we need to be more mindful of the things that we say. And the first way you can do that is by identifying why you say the things you say, identifying that you do say the things you say and that are not conducive to your what you want to manifest in your life. So if you want to have, a car or whatever, or a house, you don't talk about or dwell on what you may see as a negative situation at this time, and you not having what you say you want. You basically are living in the moment more. So, and that's really what helps with that. You're living in the moment more. However, you're also working on making sure what you're saying is something that is of an uplifting manner to your being. So looking at the grass as being green, looking at your life as being more fruitful, because the fruit that you bear, you want it to be, you know, something sweet and beautiful. You don't want to bear rotten fruit. And that's what a lot of people are doing. You're bearing rotten fruit by the words that are coming out of your mouth. You're cursing yourself. You're cursing your life. You know what I'm saying? So in order to be what you want and have what you want, speak those things. The more you speak it, the more you uplift yourself, the more you're uplifting your heart, the more you're uplifting your entire life and your entire being, my loves. And that is really the message that I want to convey to you. Speak life. Speak life. Speak love. Because love is life. Life is love. The reason why it took me a minute right there, because I almost got into my Erykah Badu when she said love is life and life is free. Take a vow of life with me. Free your mind and find that way. There will be a brighter day. Erykah Badu, I love her. I do. Badu. So just work. What you have to do is you have to work on building your confidence, and building your confidence in yourself will help you build the way you speak about yourself. That's in working with your root and your sacral chakras, mainly your sacral chakra, and your solar plexus too, as well. So your lower chakras helps with your confidence a lot. Mainly sacral though, guys. Get into your working in your sacral chakra, and I'm gonna do a video about your about all your chakras. And the crystals that are beneficial for those, in helping with unblocking them and healing them, balancing them basically. Also with healing physical ailments and all of that stuff. I'm working on that as well. So yeah, basically speak things we want, not what we currently see with the two physical eyes. And it's basically changing our word magic to reflect a more grateful vibe. That's another thing. Working on being grateful. That is a very good way to change the way you speak. So if you get up every day and you give thanks, as my Jamaican brothers and sisters say, you give thanks for everything. You give thanks for the trees and the oxygen that they're giving you, and the plants, and you give thanks for, you know, the sun rising. You give thanks for the food that you have. You give thanks for everything that you are given in this life. That also helps you change the habitual cycle of talking about the negative, quote unquote negative things in your life. TV is another thing, because TV brainwashes us to focus on negative things, to focus on fearful things, to focus on the things that we say we don't like, we don't want around us. However, again, it's law of attraction. So I'm going to end on that note. Again, change your word magic. And I think Universal Frequencies, big up that brother, talks about word magic all the time. If you guys are not following Universal Frequencies, please follow him. He is really, really awesome with keeping your mind stayed on a more positive frequency, and basically uplifting yourself through this journey. So word magic is key. Stop cursing yourself. Start blissing yourself, my loves. And I'm going to end on that note. You guys have a great night. You have a great day. You have a great journey. You just don't get discouraged through it, because I get what you see. It's very difficult to stay on the path. I just feel the need to say that. However, stay on the path. Keep doing it, because anything you do habitual, keep doing in routine becomes a habit, and there are certain habits that are good to form. Speaking positive things about yourself, speaking life into yourself is a good habit to form, loves. So on that note, again, I'm going to end it. Have a great night, loves.